Hi folks, this is a follow-up to my last video about Trump and his politics of fear. And I realized I left out something so key. That being, the main way Trump is wielding the weapon of fear is in keeping us fearful and mistrusting of one another. That whole divide and conquer thing. That whole demonizing the opposition, the internal opposition. So Trump is constantly looking at Democrats and liberals and progressives and saying that, we're evil, we're stupid, we hate America, we want to destroy America, we're against family values, and we're against all good things. So I actually got a one of the people who commented on my last video. This is his response. I have no fear. I fear Democrats, liberals, socialists, communists, and Muslims. End quote. So my response was, get to know us. Now, if you live in a community of all like-minded, it's pretty easy to stoke that fear about, oh boy, those people, they're coming to get you. So it becomes imperative to have some independent thinking. Too many of Trump's followers are willfully ignorant, so in love with his message and what they think it promises them that they intentionally keep themselves in ignorance. People who talk about, oh, Trump's the only one telling the truth, Trump is right about everything. My God, how much effort has to go into willful stupidity to believe all of that. Trump lies at a phenomenal rate, and he lies about things that are so easy to check. I'm just going to point to two examples. Trump has come out talking about how, he wants to eliminate mail-in voting because there's so much fraud associated with mail-in voting. Fact is, and this is easy to verify, go online for 5 minutes and go to a bunch of different sources. Don't just go to the New York Times. Mail-in voting has been phenomenally successful and fraud-free around the world. That's the second part of his lie. He said the United States is the only one doing this. As a way to say how ridiculous it is. We're the only ones doing this. Why are we doing this? Canada uses mail-in voting. A bunch of countries in Europe, South America, all over the world, there is mail-in voting. Now, truth, there is ever so slightly more fraud with mail-in voting than with in-person voting. And it's not easy, it's not hard to understand that. But the numbers are so low, it's less than 1/100%. It's incredibly rare. And the mechanisms in place to verify the legitimacy of votes is quite extensive and quite effective. So when fraud is attempted, it's caught. Okay, so if you get to the point of recognizing, okay, well, I guess Trump lied about this. Well, why is he lying about this? And it doesn't take an intellectual giant to recognize, okay, blue states use mail-in voting more than red states. Liberals and progressive use mail-in voting more than conservatives. Therefore, if I cut out mail-in voting, it's going to shift the electorate. It's going to shift verified votes in my favor. Easy to verify that. The second thing, and this is even bigger, Trump's entire career is based on demonizing immigrants. They corrupt our country. They're polluting our blood. They're bringing crime. Jails are being emptied all around the world. These are lies. You can easily go online. You can easily find data confirming that immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born Americans. Now, are you going to be able to find examples of immigrants creating heinous crimes? Of course you can. Just like there are so many instances of native-born Americans committing heinous crimes. All of us, I bet, can look at our own families, if not our immediate family, our extended family, and find somebody who is a criminal, somebody who is extremely dysfunctional or antisocial in some way. That doesn't label your entire family. It doesn't label your entire community. So we need to be willing to examine what we believe. I make it a point to check Fox News. Not all the time. I'm not a faithful listener to Fox News, but I do check it out. I check out Gab. I go to sources that I know are going to be anti-wokeness, because it puts me in a position then of being able to test my own beliefs, to verify, to check, because I don't want to be a fool and be wrong and just be living in that without making any effort to correct my thinking. I don't want this to get too long, so I'm going to jump to a recommendation for people who may be in a MAGA silo where the only things you're hearing are coming from that side of the spectrum. There are 3 people online who I will refer you to. Now, I refer you to these 3 individuals out of, well, I'm generalizing that I understand MAGA to be mostly white and really to have its base in the Midwest and the South. So these 3 individuals, they're all white and they're all from MAGA country, you could say. So that's the reason I point to them specifically. Tennessee Brando, he has a YouTube station. Robert Arnold, he also has a YouTube station. Both of them speak very eloquently. Tennessee Brando speaks a lot about how MAGA is being duped, looking at how Trump says he's supporting regular people, while in fact he is not serving us, how the big beautiful bill is like shutting down hospitals, how his efforts to, he's cutting FEMA that is designed to help communities in distress, all the things that he's doing against us while he's saying he is for us. Robert Arnold, I listened to one of his videos, which is on fascism, comparing what's going on in the U.S. to what went on in Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. And then there's another individual who writes on Facebook. His name is Oliver Kornetsky with a K. I read something by him where he talks about this whole notion of privilege and how he has come to recognize that as a white heterosexual male from a stable family, that he has enormous privilege, and he's come to recognize that some of that privilege comes from how society, the institutions of society and government and finance and all that lean in his favor, and to the disadvantage of many others. And he points out that coming to this knowledge doesn't hurt him, doesn't cause him to feel shame or less. it strengthens him. It strengthens him. It makes him capable of being a better citizen and to actually work to make this country better. There's this huge hypocrisy in Trump, constantly criticizing aspects of the United States, but then to kind of flip it and say that those of us who are progressive and woke, that our criticisms amount to us hating the United States and wanting to tear it down. Well, how can you improve anything without recognizing that it falls short of perfection? I'm going to stop talking here, but thank you for your responses. I actually got more comments from people who are critical of what I'm saying than people who support what I'm saying. So that's great, because I want to have the dialogue. It helps me to be better informed. It helps me, if my ideas are challenged, to then examine them more closely and make adjustments. All my life, I've made adjustments based on new information that I get along the way. That's how all of us grow. That's how all of us learn. So let's continue this, because one thing that Trump says is true is if we don't fight for our country, we're going to lose it. It's just not for the reasons he likes to cite. Thank you very much.